So we have a Q&A for you guys, and after the short Good Samaritan and House at the End of Time with the directors, and so I thought I would just, start by asking kind of a general question, and then let you guys take over from there, and I'm sure you have a bunch of questions. You got your start in horror, and then this was your first feature film, and it was also horror. What is it about the genre? Because it seems like when, often directors kind of get their start in the genre. So what is it about horror that it seems like there is maybe a lower barrier to entry, or is it that it's more of a universal?
I worked at New Line Cinema for 11 years. When I was 19, I started. And the reason a lot of people started in horror was because it's got a cheaper, they're cheaper to make, and they always make a profit. So the joke is the return on profit is porn and in horror, not the quality, but it's just an easier genre to make a profit in. So that's why a lot of people get into it. But a lot of people get into it because they love the genre. So that's why I did.
Soy un fan de las películas de terror, ¿no? Y en este caso quise combinar varios géneros y sobre todo abordar el género del suspenso y el terror, pero con una historia con esencia humana.
I'm a fan of horror films, but in this case I wanted to combine several elements of terror and suspense within horror, so it's just not horror, has a little bit of more
Combinarlo, pero construyendo una historia muy humana.
And combine them through a very human story.
And I want to ask you, Alejandro, with this being the first movie of its kind in Venezuela, did you find that made it easier to make because you didn't really have anything that kind of came before it in Venezuela, or did you find that it presented particular challenges because it was the first of its kind?
No, fue muy difícil. Nadie creía en el proyecto, nadie confiaba y fue muy difícil tratar de convencer a la gente, ¿no? Y finalmente, resultó ser un gran éxito. La película estuvo 9 meses en salas de cine y se convirtió en la película de terror más taquillera estrenada en Venezuela.
It was very difficult to convince people to invest in it, but it was actually a huge success over 9 months in the box office, and it was the third.
9 meses en cartelera. 9 meses, pero fue la tercera, la película de terror más taquillera estrenada en Venezuela.
Well, in Venezuela, it was the biggest blockbuster of horror, even of international films.
Last year was the 6th most watched film. 450 films, this is number 6.
That's fantastic.
Alejandro, is the cast of your movie very famous and well known in Venezuela, or were they all new faces?
The leading lady.
The leading lady is very known. She was Miss Venezuela.
Miss World also.
Oh, Miss World.
And Guillermo Garcia is very popular, the priest.
Yeah, Guillermo Garcia is very popular, and Gonzalo Cubero, Jose the father, he has more of 27 films, and the kids was the first job in a film. Hicimos un casting de 250 niños para con estos dos chicos.
They auditioned over 250 children for the part.
Guys, anybody else? Next question. Way back there.
Hi, I'm from South Africa. I came to watch the festival, and this has been the best movie I've seen.
Thank you.
I just wanted to know if the story is original. Where did that idea come from? Are there any traditional elements from Venezuelan horror, or just the inspiration for the storyline?
La idea es original y fue justamente lo más difícil de toda la película. Me tomó 2 años y medio escribir el guión y tuve que reescribir 15 versiones. Y lo difícil era que cuando cambiaba algo en el final tenía que volver al inicio y escribir el guión completamente de nuevo.
It's an original idea, and that's the hardest part of making this film. It took him over 15 rewrites in 2 years to do, and every time he would come to the end or make an adjustment at the end, he would have to start all over from the beginning.
Y lo primero que se me ocurrió de la película fue justamente el twist, el giro. Y en base a eso fue que construí toda esta historia sabiendo que la esencia era realmente que no habían fantasmas en la casa, sino que había un vórtice donde se conectaban los tiempos.
The first thing that came to mind was the twist, and how could he construct that in a sense that obviously there's no ghosts in the house, that you came into a vortex of time.
Thank you.
And I thought there was one more question here.
To look for financial backing for something that was so different, how were you able to, I guess, sell it to make it happen?
No sé, siendo tantos obstáculos que la gente no cree, la gente cree.
Bueno, el proyecto lo presenté en el SENAC, que es la institución del gobierno en Venezuela que financia las películas. Y la primera vez que lo intenté no fue aprobada. Luego lo que hice fue mejorar el proyecto, sobre todo construir un guión bien escrito y presentar un proyecto sólido acompañado de buenos actores y de un buen equipo que respaldara el proyecto y que garantizaran que pudiéramos lograr una excelente película.
He first presented it to SENAC, which is the Venezuelan Film Institute. It's funded by the government, and it's the main source of income for features in Venezuela. The first time he presented it, it was turned down. So he just went back to the script, which is the core of the film, and make it perfectly structurized, and then backing that up with casting and everybody that formed a part of the crew, and because you have to have all these elements in place before they approve
Para
it.
garantizar que va a tener un buen
And that way you guarantee that it's going to do well at the box office.
Any questions for Jeffrey? How did you get Rainn Wilson involved?
He thought it was the most awesome short he'd ever read in his whole no. I go to church with him, so I know him, and so I gave him the script and asked him if he would play the part, and he very graciously accepted. So.
One for each one, if I may. First of all, your short is very good. I love it. I like the whole sort of Final Destination karma killer. Everything is balanced. I love it. I actually love it, and I think that you got more stories over here. I would like to see more of you later on. See what's going on.
There's a feature that we're
Okay, there you go. Yeah, actually, that's short to the point. I like it. That's awesome. Congratulations. And Alejandro, I'm a nut for time warp, alternative realities. I always like to see where it could go wrong. Your script was awesome. It was awesome. I don't see any flaws, and I don't want to see any flaws anymore because I think it's very, very, very well written. Now you say that it took you 2 years and 15 regrets. I can see the work in that because it's very well. I think at the end it was a little bit too much on the priest thing. That's just me. That's just me. I got problems with priest and pedophilia. Let's not go there. But it's an awesome story. Congratulations, sir. Congratulations. Great story.
And next question, I believe there's one in the middle up here somewhere. Did you do that?
Did you say what brought about the idea for the project?
Exactly.
Yeah, it was inspired kind of by the Kitty Genovese story, but the legend was that this woman had been assaulted in her apartment complex, and everybody heard and watched, and nobody helped. And the true part of it is the guy did go away and came back and assaulted and killed the woman again, but they kind of debunked the legend, but because the reporter went in to interview all these people, and people had actually called for help and called the police, but nobody kind of went through with it. So this kind of salacious reporter went in and kind of published this whole thing about somebody was murdered and nobody helped. And so I grew up on that, and this just always fascinated me. So that's one of the things I love about the horror genre is you can kind of delve into questions and ask things that people relate to. And I tried to help a girl once. She was on the street, her drunk boyfriend was like shoving her around, and I went up all blustering and kicked me in the nuts, and I was ready for a fight, and then he kicked me in the nuts. But he could have had a knife or something. I didn't think about that at the time, but that always why people don't help other people always gets under my skin, and I thought it was kind of a good concept for a project.
In the hat.
Okay. What kind of camera did you use for it?
For who is that to?
No, not Jeffrey.
Jeffrey Alejandro?
Yeah, Alejandro.
Screw you, manager. That's my manager.
We use a red one.
Oh, okay.
The kind of camera?
Oh, the red.
The
The red.
I was asking because the quality was really good, so.
And then, did you have a question right in front of him as well?
Question for Alejandro. What was the approximate budget? ¿Y cuántos días?
350,000.
7 semanas, no, 7 semanas.
7 weeks. 7 weeks of shooting.
Another question?
For the two of you, it seems like, particularly with yours, Alejandro, but then even with yours, Jeffrey, the idea of, kind of fear being, that there's nothing to fear but fear itself, that old saying. And it seems like you both took that and kind of played with that concept. Because in your case, there was, Jeffrey's was something actually supernatural. In your case, it was supernatural, but of a different sense. So what is it about that concept that you really, really like playing with that, kind of at the end of the day, it's really just all in our own minds that that's our own worst enemy, so to speak?
Well, I try to, and it doesn't always show up in movies like Day of the Dead where it's just zombies eating people, but I try to have a psychological underpinning to the stuff that I write. And it's funny, as a writer, that's usually the first thing that comes out of a script is the character stuff. Like they want to get right to the sex and the blood. So to direct something, it's kind of fun to get to play with that. That's what character, I studied, acting growing up, and character was all about the characters and the writing. So I think that, as a writer, when I got to direct it, that I wanted to kind of focus on what was going on with the character psychologically as opposed to a lot of flash. I thought you did a great job with that too.
Lo que a mí más me atrapa, bueno, yo creo que lo importante de una historia es que cuando se hace con verdad, con honestidad, te despierta emociones y te hace sentir vivo. Y yo creo que no hay una emoción tan fuerte como el miedo que nos haga sentir verdaderamente vivos, y por eso es que cuando se logra una emoción de verdad como el miedo, uno la puede disfrutar tanto en una sala de cine, a pesar de que es una emoción no muy buena, pero que miles de personas la disfrutan en las salas de cine, y con eso fue lo que quise trabajar, con la verdad.
He wanted to play with truth and the fact that fear is an emotion that makes us feel alive. And but that combined with truth in itself, it's also something that people at the theaters enjoy a lot, and that's something that he also wanted to play with.
Yeah. Thank you all for coming.